long day and it's been really hot, and although I've just been described as serious, I think we could all use a joke. And I'm not talking about the Republican slate. I'm talking about a joke from the late satirist P.J. O'Rourke. Back in 1991, P.J. said, Democrats, they're the party that says government will make you smarter, taller, richer, and it will remove the crabgrass from your lawn. Now, the Republicans, they're the ones who tell you government doesn't work, and they get elected and prove it. Do they ever? It's a very funny joke, and I've told it a lot of times, but honestly, it is a little bit less funny now. And here's the serious part. It was funnier back then, because at that time, Republicans' inability and their refusal to govern protected us from the worst elements of the Republican Party. We were protected by their incompetence. But something fundamental has changed in recent years. The worst elements of the Republican Party, I'm talking about individuals who place power and control and self-enrichment above the common good, above the rule of law. Those people are in control now. And they have titles like president and attorney general. And while these worst elements of the Republican Party are still incompetent, they're certainly indifferent when it comes to managing a sustainable, non-bubble economy, when it comes to making people's voices count, when it comes to expanding opportunity instead of contracting it, when it comes to running a government that is truly limited, but effective and respectful and responsive to the people of the state. They are, however, exceedingly, ruthlessly competent at getting their way when it comes to control and destruction and suppression and deception. They are competent in ways that we never anticipated. We did not anticipate that the President of the United States would break the law and the Constitution as a matter of routine. That he would flout the very courts that he stacks. That in federal and state government, corruption would become policy. We did not anticipate that the Texas legislature would turn mercenary, filing and passing bills at the instruction of puppeteers in Washington, D.C. who mock the rule of law and ignore the Constitution. And so the reason P.J. O'Rourke's joke is not as funny as it once was is this. We're no longer talking about Democratic overconfidence versus Republican underachievement. We're not talking about noble, maybe at times naive aspirations versus intellectual laziness and self-justified greed. That was before. We are now talking about a very effective assault on the foundation of all legitimate exercise of government authority, the sine qua non, to use a law school word, the thing without which all business activity, all civil order, all social well-being depends, the rule of law. And that, my friends, is what the Attorney General's race is about. The rule of law is what separates a just society from a corrupted one. And when I say corrupt here, I don't mean in the absurdly narrow sense that the United States Supreme Court created from thin air in Citizens United, where corruption is nothing but a mere quid pro quo, an old-fashioned bribe. I'm talking about the historical meaning of the word corruption as it was used in the Federalist Papers, where they referred to the decay, the rot, and the deformation of political institutions. It meant the use of public power for private ends and the use of private wealth to wield public power. My friends, after 30 years of Republican rule in Texas, we are suffering under that corruption. And how did we get here? What happened? Tim Dunn happened. Jeff Yass happened. The Wilkes brothers happened. They spent millions of dollars buying the Republican Party, reshaping it to suit their interests, and deceiving voters into thinking that theirs was the party of virtue and prosperity. I'll tell you what else happened. MAGA Mays Middleton happened. My opponent, Mays Middleton, inherited his family's fortune at age 31. And he went right to work, spending some of his inherited fortune, dragging the Republican Party to the far fringes of the far right, creating a political environment in which he could get elected. And then he bought himself a state house seat. And he bought himself a state Senate seat. And just last spring, he spent more than $21 million of his own family-inherited dollars buying himself the Republican nomination for Attorney General. I got a message for MAGA Mays and his cronies. The Texas Attorney General's office is not for sale. We cannot have at the helm of the office charged with rooting out corruption someone who gave corruption a pass, someone who condoned abuse of the very office he seeks, someone who voted to acquit Ken Paxton. The era of abusing power in the Attorney General's office for partisan control, harassment, and vendettas, for putting private interests over the public interest, this era of corruption in the Attorney General's office ends November 3rd, 2026. Because when industries violate our environmental laws, and when following the law puts you at a competitive disadvantage, the people of Texas don't need an attorney who sues to invalidate those laws. The people of Texas need an attorney general who sues to enforce the laws. So they can look to the Attorney General's office and say, that's my lawyer. And when your government infringes on your rights to vote, to get a loan, to get an education, to practice your faith, and to control your own body, the people of this state need an attorney general they can point to and say, that's my lawyer. And when corporations use monopolistic power and powerful technology to prey on consumers and kill competition and stifle innovation, the people of Texas need an attorney general they can point to and say, that's my lawyer. I'm Nathan Johnson. I'm running to be your lawyer. Thank you.